Okay guys, we are here on the lockdown farm because we are currently on lockdown in Spain. And what we're going to be doing today is looking over how we can use the GHD, which is this machine here. GHD stands for Glute-Ham Developer. And what we usually see in CrossFit is a GHD sit-up. And throughout most workouts using GHD, that is the movement that we will see. However, it's a really useful piece of equipment to do quite a variety of exercises. Now, because in CrossFit gyms we don't typically have many machines, we can use this as a substitute. In Globo gyms we have lots of machines that can isolate different muscle groups, whereas in a CrossFit gym it's a little harder to isolate. So what we're going to be doing is showing you our top 5 exercises for working the posterior chain on a GHD. Now, in essence, our posterior chain is the back of our legs. We've got 2 main muscle groups, our glutes and our hamstrings, and they are extremely useful throughout almost all movements within CrossFit. And one other thing that can be really useful is they can sometimes help offset knee pain. And what I mean by that is, again, most movements in CrossFit tend to be quite quad dominant, as we will call them, with jumping, the type of squatting that we do, and therefore developing this posterior chain can really start to help offload the front of our legs. I have the fittest in Hungary, Kristoff Horvath, to demo our movements. So the 5 movements we're going to show you, we're going to have our hip extension, our back extension, our Glute-Ham Raise, our reverse hyper, and also a Glute-Ham Hold. Now, what you'll see on the GHD is we have a cushion, we have the rest of the structure, and we also have the foot pads which are movable. So in essence, this is the one area that we can adjust, and we're going to need to adjust the foot pads for each of the different movements. So the first one we're going to do is the hip extension. So for the hip extension, you can see that the apex of the cushion is on Kristoff's thigh, and also that the feet are locked in between the foot pads. And what we're doing with the hip extension is we're in essence fixing the upper body and using our glutes and our hamstrings to extend the back. Perfect. We're now going to go into our back extension. So the setup now is exactly the same. As you can see, the apex of the cushion is on Kristoff's thigh. However, now what we're doing is fixing the lower body. So we fixed our hamstrings, fixed our glutes, and as you can see, the low back is segmenting or using each segment of the low back in order to straighten up. Perfect. That was exercise number 2, our back extension. Exercise number 3. We're going to do our Glute-Ham Raise. So now we're using a bit of a different setup to what we've had before. You can see the feet are locked in between the 2 foot pads. Kristoff's knee is now behind the apex of the cushion. He's going to squeeze his bum as tight as he can, and he's then going to go down and then back up, go down and then back up. Now this is an extremely challenging exercise for some, but what we want to do, I'm just going to get Kristoff to do a partial rep now. So what you'll see in this partial rep is he just goes to 45 degrees and then comes back. And you guys, when you try this, you'll feel that it really does hit the hamstrings and the glutes. So if you don't feel confident enough with the full Glute-Ham Raise, working the partials is absolutely fine. Now we're going to come into our 4th exercise, and our 4th exercise is actually our Glute-Ham Hold. So we just need to do same position again. So instead of doing a Glute-Ham Raise now, this is called our Glute-Ham Hold. And in essence, this is a great isometric exercise for building the posterior chain. He goes out to roughly 45 degrees, holds the position and maintains, and then comes back. So our Glute-Ham Hold is a great isometric exercise for developing our posterior chain. Perfect. Okay, we're now going to come on to our final exercise, which is our reverse hyper. Now, there's actually, this exercise from Louis Simmons at Westside Barbell, and they developed a machine called the reverse hyper. So this is a bit of a modification of the movement, but now we use the GHD in a completely different way. So Kristoff's going to go onto the GHD. He's going to hold on, so his hands are on the front, and you can see that the apex of the cushion now is actually tucked into his hip. His legs are going to be straight, and then he's going to extend the legs up and back, up and back, up and back. Perfect. So all of these exercises are focused on our posterior chain. They each have slightly different elements of the muscle group that they're working. For example, the hip extension tends to work more through our hamstrings and our glutes. The back extension works through more of the erector spinae muscles in our low back. However, in essence, all of these form part of our posterior chain, and making this area of our body stronger has huge benefits throughout all of your CrossFit movements. So if you've just been doing GHDs, sit-ups, give these a go. These will really help develop that booty.